What is up, you guys? Jury here, and welcome back to a new video. As you can see, this is pretty much a normal video, so no fancy editing as always. So in this video, I wanted to talk about alternative software for recording screen capture on Linux. Nowadays, a lot of people who use Linux, they just use OBS because it's kind of like the de facto software for recording basically your desktop, gaming and other stuff you like a lot of people used to record. But I feel like there are other alternative software applications that are not being talked about, so that's what this video is going to be. I'm going to show you the alternative software for recording your desktop or basically a screen capture, and these will be 4 alternative software applications. So the first application we're going to talk about is called Kooha, which is basically screen recorder. It is very simple. So this is what it basically looks like. You have your record button, and this is what you'll be using to capture your monitor. So if I hit the record button right now, it's pretty much recording only this screen. So yeah, it's very simple. If you also go to your preferences or your settings, here you can change the format of it, and you can also change the frame rate. Yeah, you can also change the direction, or not the direction, but like the directory of where you want to save your recordings, and you can also change the delay of your recordings if you want to. Other features I did not talk about, for example, this button here, which allows you to capture the selection of your screen. So like basically, if you are recording, it's going to most likely mark your mouse pointer. So for example, if you're making a tutorial, showing your mouse pointer could be very useful. You can also hide the pointer if you want to, which is also very neat. With this software, you can also enable desktop audio as well as enable a microphone, so those are very neat features. Now let's talk about the disadvantages of the software. Now, as you can see, since it doesn't have a lot of, I want to say, niche features, this could be a huge disadvantage to most people, especially if you come from something like OBS where you want to have niche features. So for example, it may have the desktop and microphone options, but let's say you want to monitor how loud your microphone is or how loud your desktop audio is. So those are features that it's unfortunately lacking. Another disadvantage when it comes to this software is that obviously when you're recording, you don't know if it's recording smoothly. If you come definitely if you come from OBS, so like a preview of what your recordings look like, if it's smooth, if it's jittery. So yeah, that's like a big disadvantage right there. From my experience using this, it pretty much works just fine. In fact, since it has the frame rate, which in my opinion is a big changer, you can play with this at 60 or 30 or even 59 FPS depending on your system. That's a big game changer. But the only downside when it comes to this software is that it can record pretty much basically it can record anything, but if you try to play a game, especially if it's a full screen application, unfortunately it's not going to pick that up for some reason. I tried ways to make it work, and unfortunately it just does not capture a full screen application. The only way for you to play games while using this software to record your games is if you play your games in a windowed in a windowed mode, which isn't the best option. But if you really want to use the software, then that's the only thing you can do. You have to unfortunately play most of your games in windowed mode in order to use this. So to summarize, If you're completely new to recording your screen capture and you want a very simplistic software for recording, then this one could be a best option for you. The next alternative software we're going to be talking about is called SSR, or Simple Screen Recorder. So if you open it, this is what it looks like, and it even gives you a welcome screen. So yeah, this is what it looks like. So if we click continue, this is what the GUI looks like, or the, should I say, the user graphical interface. So to start off, you have your input profile. So this is what you be using to basically add any input profile. So for example, I can add this for, let's say, for streaming, because you can use this to stream, but I haven't really tested that yet. As for the video output, you have a lot of options. You can use Pipewire X11, which is GNOME X11. You can use OpenGL, and you can use whatever this is, and unfortunately I don't know what that is, but yeah, you have a lot of back-end features you can use, and I'll get into what these do. For the source, this is what you will be using to adjust your resolution, and this is basically your frame rate. So this is what you use to scale the video. So for example, if I untick this, it's going to record my videos at my native resolution of this monitor. But if I untick this, then you can manually customize this, like the scale video. So if you don't want to record it in native resolution because of maybe you don't have a good system, then you can pretty much use this to customize your scaled height and width for the resolution. For the audio input, you can use whatever audio backend you have. So most of you, I'm sure, have Pulse Audio, but if you have Jack or ALSA, you can pretty much do that. This will be like your desktop audio specifically, and this is going to be your microphone for recording your voice basically. So back to what this does. So basically what this does is it allows you to kind of adjust where you want to record, like which screen you want to record. So unfortunately, to use this software, you have to use X11. So if I switch this to X11, you'll notice that I have additional features. So you can see that this is the option that I use, but obviously I don't record at 3840 by 1080. That would be way too much on my CPU because I don't have an encoder. So what I do is I usually select screen 1, and as you can see, screen 1 literally appears on the top left of my screen. So this is what I'll be using to record, and that's what X11 does. So to use this, unfortunately, you have to use X11. If you don't want to use X11, you can use Pipewire on GNOME, but from my testing, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any recording to work. I adjusted all of my settings and nothing worked. So for you to use this, you have to use X11. I guess you can use OpenGL, but you may run into issues, but you can experiment on OpenGL if it works. And it does say that, you know, using OpenGL is very, like, it is experimental. It may or may not work, or the program may even crash. So for the backend, it's really up to you, but it's recommended you use X11 just to get at least some kind of recording to work. But once you have basically all of your settings in check, you can then click continue, and this is where you're pretty much going to customize your video and where you want your files to be saved, and even the container. And this is where you can actually select like a profile for, let's say, for YouTube. I don't know if this works for Twitch. Yeah, maybe it does. I'm not really sure, but I believe you can use this for Twitch as well. Yeah, and then this section will be like your video. So for the codec, you can select H264, which will be your GPU, and then you can like change your preset. And this will be your audio, so you can change the bitrate and the codec as well. But once you have the output profile also in check, so I did not select output file, but it's not like I'm going to record anyways. Once you have everything checked, you're pretty much good to go. You can start the recording and you should be able to record. So this is what you be mostly paying attention to. So you'll be paying attention to like your bitrate, the file size, the file name, and so on. So this is very much important information. You can even start a preview. So if I do that now, this is what it's going to look like as a preview. And as you can see, it's showing some information. Of course, this is a preview. It's not like it's going to record at 10 fps, but this is just a preview of what it looks like. So yeah, once you do, you're pretty much good to go. You even have the logs as well, so in case if something goes wrong and it stops recording, or if the maybe the software or the application just crashes for some reason, you can at least check in your logs to see what caused it to crash. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the advantages of using software. So it's pretty clear that this software has a lot of options you can use compared to something like Kooha, where it didn't have a lot of features. So that's something that I really like about the software. There's a lot of stuff you can work with, and I also like the fact that you can use this to stream if you want to, which is obviously a big advantage right there. So for some reason, if you do not like OBS, maybe you're having issues with OBS, then you can use this to pretty much start a live stream. And yeah, that's what I really like about this software. Now, of course, there are some things that I don't like about this software, unfortunately. The biggest downside is obviously the video input backend. So again, if you use GNOME just like me, you're gonna have problems running this, because from my experience, I tried using Pipewire and the software did say to me that I should use Pipewire and it should have worked. Unfortunately, most of the recordings, I just got a black screen and nothing seems to be showing up. The only thing that worked was the audio, which is good, and my mic worked. So yeah, that's a big obviously a big downside, especially if you use GNOME. To use this software, you have to use X11. That's the only option you have. Now, obviously, there are other features that this does not have. If you come from OBS, obviously, it doesn't have, for example, the preview that I talked about earlier. If you really wanna check if your recordings are smooth or not, you can do that. Obviously, it does have a preview, but like when you're recording, it doesn't show it right here, and that's like a big disadvantage right there. Yeah, so it obviously has missing features, or I want to say niche features. So yeah, but overall, I would say this is a pretty simple and a good screen recorder. You have a lot of options to work with. So yeah, this is simple screen recorder. Now, this software, in my opinion, is not getting a lot of attention, and I think it does deserve to get a lot of attention. And this software is called GPU Screen Recorder. So let's open it, and this is GPU Screen Recorder. So this is what it looks like. If you use AMD software to record, I forgot the name, then you're going to obviously notice that it does have that GUI, which is really good. So if you go to settings, there are a lot of features you can use. So you can adjust the appearance. I can't speak today, I'm sorry, but yeah, you can change the color from blue to red or green if you want to, but I'm going to use blue because it just fits my overall theme. If you want to, you can allow this program to run on startup, so every time you basically turn on your system, it will start the moment obviously you turn on your system. You can also use hotkeys, and you can also enable controller hotkeys for these hotkeys, of course, and obviously it has application options. So it's not only simple, but there's some settings you can use to basically customize your hotkeys. Now obviously if we go to the recording section in record settings, then this is where you're going to adjust a lot of your settings. If you want a simple view, you can basically use that and you can pretty much adjust your settings, but if you want an advanced view, you can do that. Yeah, so this software is, I want to say, really good. There are a lot of options you can do to customize. It's not perfect, there are some things missing, but from the experiences of others, this is perhaps the best GPU screen recorder you can use. And I also forgot to mention, you can use this to live stream, which is even better. Similar to simple screen recorder, this is also not different. You can use this to live stream as well. You can also use instant replay if you want to. The only disadvantage when it comes to this software is if you're like me and you do not have GPU encoding, then this software unfortunately is going to be mostly useless to you, because I mean, if you don't have encoding on your GPU, then you're pretty much out of luck. Now I remember, let me go to the settings. I remember you can technically use x264, but then again, a lot of people recommend GPU encoder because it's overall much better than x264. But yeah, that's like the only disadvantage. Of course, we can talk about the missing features, but overall I think this is still in development, and I think it's only going to get better. So with that, I think if you don't have GPU encoder, then it's going to suck, because you can't use the software. If I try to record right now, it's not going to work because I don't have GPU screen. I don't have like a GPU encoder basically, so that's the reason why I cannot use this software. But overall, this is a really good software for recording. So to summarize, if you want a simple screen recorder, especially if you are inexperienced to applications like OBS, then Kooha is your best option. Obviously, remember the downside: you won't be able to play games, especially if you're like running applications on full screen. So that's something to keep in mind. As for simple screen recorder, actually I forgot to mention this from my testing, it works just fine. So simple screen recorder, I would say, is I want to say, for those who do come from OBS and they want software that has at least the basic features that you obviously need to at least start recording, and I think SSR pretty much has those basic features. As for the downsides, obviously if you are using GNOME as your desktop environment, you may want to consider using it, because if you're lucky enough, if you use Pipewire for the video input, then that's good. But if it doesn't work, then you may want to use X11 to use the software for recording. As for GPU screen recorder, I would say if you have a really good GPU encoder, then I recommend you use that one. It's much more easier on your system, so you can play games at the highest settings without sacrificing quality, so GB screen recorder is pretty much good. Again, the only downside to it is outside of it not having other features, because I know it's still in development. If you don't have a GPU encoder, then the software is pretty much no use to you, obviously. So that's the only downside I would pretty much give, and that's pretty much it. So that's the video I really wanted to make. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like this video, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments which software you're using for recording your screen, if it's OBS or even GPU screen recorder. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, with that being said, it's your boy Jury, and I am signing out.